I never thought revenge would taste like spiked eggnog and the metallic tang of blood in my mouth. But there I was, staring at my own face in the bathroom mirror, my brother's face, really grinning back with teeth that weren't mine. It started with that goddamn Christmas dinner, when Ethan smirked across the table and said, "Your plate's with the dogs. Sis, scraps for the family reject," while Dad's lawyer unsealed the will, leaving every cent of the Hawthorne empire to him. And in that moment, as the room spun with whispers and my mother's forced tears, I knew I'd swap more than words with him. I'd swap lives. But the real hook? I didn't just plan it. I made it happen. One desperate ritual in the attic, cribbed from Dad's hidden occult journals, the ones he swore were just old family lore, and poof, souls twisted like holiday lights tangled in the wind. I woke up in his body, he in mine. And the payback? It was biblical, baby. Except Bibles don't come with twists that make you question if you're the monster or just the mirror. The snow was falling thick that Christmas Eve in Willow Creek, Ohio, the kind of relentless Midwestern whiteout that turns the world into a blank page begging for blood. Our family home, Hawthorne Manor, squatted on the edge of town like a fat cat too lazy to chase mice, a sprawling Victorian beast Dad had bought with his first oil well windfall back in the 80s. It was the kind of place where secrets fermented in the walls, where the creaks at night weren't ghosts but the house groaning under the weight of lies we'd all told ourselves. I was Caroline Hawthorne, 32. The spare daughter who'd clawed her way through community college on waitressing tips while Ethan, my golden boy brother 3 years older, yachted through Yale on Dad's dime. He'd always been the heir apparent, the one with the easy smile and the firm handshakes that sealed deals before the ink dried. Me? I was the fixer, the one who mopped up his messes. Like that summer in '09. When he wrapped his daddy's Cadillac around a tree after a bender in Cleveland, drunk, high, and with some senator's daughter half-conscious in the passenger seat. Dad made me take the fall. Family sticks together.
Carl.
Ethan's got a future. So I did 6 months in county for reckless endangerment, lost my scholarship, and watched him graduate with honors while I scrubbed toilets at the diner. That betrayal? It was the appetizer. The main course came years later, when Dad got sick, pancreatic cancer. The silent killer that ate him from the inside like termites in the manor's beams. Ethan helped by handling the business, siphoning funds into offshore accounts while I nursed Dad through the chemo haze. I'd read to him from those dusty journals he kept locked in his study, yellowed pages filled with symbols that looked like chicken scratches from a mad monk. Tales of soul trades and vengeance pacts that he laughed off as immigrant folklore from our great-grandpa's Romanian roots. Just stories. Kiddo, he'd rasp, but his eyes would dart to the shadows. Then, 2 weeks before Christmas, Dad died. No goodbyes. Just a rattle in his chest and a notary at his bedside. The will reading was set for the holiday. Tradition be damned, Dad loved his dramatics. Ethan flew in from New York, where he'd parlayed the family oil fortune into a hedge fund that preyed on Rust Belt widows like vultures on roadkill. He arrived with his trophy wife, Lauren, a Botoxed blonde who called me Carrie like we were sorority sisters, and their twin hellions, aged 5, who treated the manor like a jungle gym. I was there alone, as always, stringing lights on the sagging Douglas fir in the foyer, the scent of pine mixing with a faint rot from the basement where Dad's old stills gathered dust. Mom had passed when I was 10, overdose on pills she chased with bourbon after one too many of Ethan's accidents, so it was just us 3 Hawthorns now, bound by blood and bile. The dinner bell rang at 7 sharp. crystal chimes echoing through the halls like a summons to judgment. I descended the grand staircase in my one good dress, a thrift store number that hugged my curves a little too tight after years of stress eating. Ethan was at the head of the table, carving the turkey with surgical precision. His Armani shirt sleeves rolled up to show off the Rolex Dad had given him for his 21st. Lauren cooed over the kids, who were finger painting with mashed potatoes. And the lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, a weasel-faced fossil who'd handled Dad's affairs since Nixon, sat fidgeting with his briefcase. "Pass the gravy, Caro," Ethan said, not looking up. His voice was that polished baritone, the one that charmed investors and betted interns. I slid the boat across the linen, my hand brushing his, and felt the old spark of resentment flare. We'd been close once, thick as thieves, sharing secrets under the covers during thunderstorms. But power changes people, turns brothers into kings and sisters into serfs. The meal dragged, small talk about Wall Street woes and the kids' Montessori scandals. Then Hargrove cleared his throat, spectacles glinting under the chandelier. "As per Mr. Hawthorne's instructions, the reading commences." He unsealed the envelope with a flourish, the wax seal cracking like gunfire in the silence. Ethan leaned back, smirking that trademark smirk, the one that said he owned the room, the will, the world. "Let's make this quick, Harold. I've got a red eye to JFK." Hargrove droned through the legalese, bequest to charities, a trust for the grandkids. Then the kicker, to Ethan Hawthorne, "My son, I bequeath the entirety of Hawthorne Energy Holdings, including all assets, properties, and liquid accounts, valued at approximately $247 million. The room tilted. I gripped my fork, the tines biting into my palm. "Ethan, everything?" I'd slaved over those books during Dad's illness, balanced the ledgers while Ethan golfed with senators. And nothing for me, not even the manor, where I'd buried our childhood ghosts. Ethan's laugh broke the hush, low and triumphant. He raised his glass, wine sloshing like blood. "To family. And to new beginnings." His eyes met mine, cold as the snow outside. "Saudi. Cease. Looks like your plates with the dogs tonight. Scraps for the family reject." Lauren tittered. The kids giggled, and Hargrove packed his papers with averted eyes. I sat frozen, the words carving deeper than any knife. "Scraps." Like I was the mongrel begging at their table. The betrayal wasn't just the money, it was the erasure. Dad had known, whispered it in his fevered dreams about balancing the scales, but he'd let Ethan bury me alive under his shadow. I excused myself, fleeing to the powder room off the dining hall, retching into the porcelain until my throat burned. That's when I remembered the journals. Stumbling to Dad's study, I yanked open the safe, combination our birth years, 89-92, and pulled the leather-bound tome. Pages fluttered, incantations in faded ink, warnings scrawled in Dad's hand. The swap for debts unpaid. Souls may trade. But beware, the vessel remembers. It was madness, a relic from old-world superstitions. But as Ethan's laughter echoed down the hall, I traced the sigil with a turkey bone, dipped in my own spit-mingled wine. Words tumbled out, guttural and ancient, anima pro anima. Debita pro debita. A wind howled through the cracked window, candles guttering. Pain lanced my skull, like hooks in my brain, and the world inverted. I blacked out to the sound of Ethan's toast. "Merry Christmas." Hawthorne style. Waking up in Ethan's body felt like drowning in cologne and ambition. His cologne. Specifically, that overpriced Tom Ford crap that smelled like money and regret. I was sprawled on the leather sectional in the den, the fire poker clutched in his fist, embers popping like distant gunfire. The clock on the mantel read 2:17 a.m. Christmas morning, and the manor was silent except for the wind clawing at the shutters. I sat up, head throbbing, and caught my reflection in the brandy decanter. Sharp jaw, blue eyes, that cleft chin Dad always envied. Ethan's face, but my thoughts churning behind it. Panic clawed first. Had I dreamed it? But no. The journal lay open on the rug, sigil smudged but glowing faintly, like a bruise under blacklight. And then, from upstairs, a scream. My scream, high and ragged. Caroline's voice. I bolted up the stairs, 2 at a time, Ethan's longer legs eating the distance. The master suite door hung ajar, and there she was. No, he was thrashing on the four-poster. Lauren nowhere in sight. What the fuck? Ethan and me snarled, clawing at the nightgown I'd worn to bed. His eyes, my eyes, widened in horror as he scrambled to the mirror, pressing palms to the glass. This isn't. Caro, you bitch. What did you do? I stepped into the lamplight, towering in his frame. Merry Christmas, brother. Welcome to the real family tradition. He lunged, but I was faster. Ethan's body was a machine, gym honed from spin classes and steak dinners. I pinned him, me, to the vanity, the perfume bottle shattering like brittle bones. You think this is a joke? Fix it. Now, he hissed, voice cracking into my old timbre. Oh. It's no joke, I said, my new baritone smooth as bourbon. Remember that night in Cleveland? The crash? I took the rap so you could play Prince. And Dad's will? You greased Hargrove's palm weeks ago. Didn't you? I found the emails on your laptop, $50K wired to his Cayman account. You stole it all. Ethan. My inheritance, too. His face, my face, twisted, defiance flickering. Dad chose me. Always did. You're the screw-up. Caro. The one who couldn't hack it. I released him, stepping back as he slumped, sobbing in a way I'd never allowed myself. The power shift was intoxicating, a dark current under my skin. But this was just the appetizer. The real feast? Exposing him, piece by bloody piece, from inside his empire. Dawn broke gray and grudging, the snow piling drifts against the windows like accusations. Lauren pounded on the door, hungover and hysterical. Ethan? Kids are up, Santa came. I smoothed his hair, pasted on that trademark smirk. Coming, babe. Family meeting in 5. Downstairs. Chaos reigned, wrapping paper carnage. The twins shrieking over iPads while Ethan and me shuffled down in my robe, eyes hollow. Lauren arched a brow. Rough night. Carrie, you look like death warmed over. Family drama, I said, scooping a kid onto Ethan's hip, surreal. Holding a niece who thought I was her uncle. Ethan's got news about the will. We gathered in the breakfast nook. Hargrove summoned back via Ethan's, my burner phone. Ethan and me sat mute, picking at scones. While I outlined the generous amendment, I'd contest the will, citing undue influence, and donate half to a women's shelter in Mom's name. Lauren gasped, the kids tuned out for cartoons. Hargrove blanched, stammering about legal hurdles. But Ethan? He knew. Under the table, His foot, my foot, kicked mine. A Morse code of fury. Fix this, or else. Or else what? I murmured when they cleared out. Voices low over cooling coffee. You'll tell them your sister's a witch? Good luck with that. In my body. You're insane, he whispered. This swap, it's temporary. Right? The book said sunset or some shit. I leaned in. Ethan's cologne masking my glee. Depends. Dad's notes mentioned a debt repaid clause. Yours? It's mountainous. That crash wasn't just DUI, the senator's girl? She was underage. Ethan. 15. You paid her off. Buried it. I have the receipts. Tucked in the attic safe. Payback starts now. His eyes bulged, my eyes. So vulnerable. You wouldn't. Watch me. I stood, clapping his shoulder like we were bros. Now. Be a good girl and wrap gifts. Uncle Ethan's got calls to make. The day blurred into a fevered dream of deception. I fielded Ethan's bored calls from the study. Voice modulator app on his phone deepening my tone just enough. Gentlemen. Hawthorne Energy's pivoting green, solar leases in Texas. Sell the fracking rights. Gasps on the line. I hung up smirking. Millions shifted. Foundations cracked. Meanwhile, Ethan and me played the part, baking cookies with the twins, voice pitching high when Lauren asked about his headache. I caught him rifling the study mid-afternoon, journal in hand, but the sigil had faded, irreversible until the debt cleared, or so Dad's scrawl promised. Night fell early, solstice short, and tension coiled like the old log in the hearth. Dinner was strained, prime rib and passive aggression. Lauren chattered about Hampton's plans. The kids demanded Fortnite. Ethan avoided my gaze. But I saw the calculation, my own tell. A lip bite when plotting. After bedtime stories, he cornered me in the wine cellar, shadows pooling like spilled Merlot. Okay. Truce. What do you want? Half the company? The manor? Name it. I swirled a Cabernet, savoring the vintage Dad hoarded. Justice. Ethan. For Mom, you pushed her. That last fight. Pills on the counter accident. For the crash. For every time you made me the villain. Lies, he spat. Mom was weak. And the girl? Consensual. She lied about her age. Like you lied to Dad? I set the glass down. Advancing. The swap holds till you confess. Publicly. Or I dismantle your life from the inside, tank the stock, leak the files. Your call. He lunged again, feral in my frame, but I sidestepped, his momentum cracking a rack of bottles. Red rivulets snaked the stone floor. You think you're better? This power trip, it's you? Caro. The real monster. Maybe, I said, wiping a splash from my cuff. But monsters make the best mirrors. As he stormed out, I pocketed a shard of glass, insurance, sharp as truth. Boxing Day dawned with a vengeance, sun slicing through icicle-draped eaves, turning the manor into a glittering prison. Ethan's phone buzzed nonstop, board members apoplectic over my green pivot, Lauren's texts piling up about delayed flights. I silenced it all, retreating to the attic where Dad's secrets festered amid moth-chewed trunks and cobweb veils. The journal lay splayed, its pages a roadmap to ruin, addendums on amplifying the swap, binding it with tokens of betrayal, hair, blood, a signed confession. Ethan's cufflink, snagged from his valise, would do for now. I pricked my thumb, his thumb, smearing the sigil crimson. Debita augmentum, I intoned, the air thickening like before Twister. A thrum in my veins, deeper now, as if his soul recoiled within me.
Downstairs.
Ethan in me was unraveling, pacing the kitchen in my jeans, which hung loose on his broader build, muttering to Lauren about migraines. She eyed him suspiciously over her latte. You sure you're okay? Carrie? You've been weird since the will. Fine, he snapped, my voice brittle. Just family stuff. I entered then, all swagger in Ethan's sweats.
Clapping.
Morning.
All.
Ethan here's got announcement about the estate. Lauren perked, he froze.
Ido.
You do. I nodded to Hargrove, whom I texted to return. Bribe be damned. The weasel arrived flustered.
Papers in tow.
Mr. Hawthorne? Sir, about that amendment. In the study, with Lauren eavesdropping from the hall, I forced the play. Ethan. Sweating in my skin. Signed, over the manor and a $10 million trust to me, Caroline Hawthorne. The reject. His hand shook on the pen. Eyes pleading, stop this. But I whispered, confess or it gets worse. He balked, scrawling instead a note. Attic. Midnight. End this. Lauren bought the charity angle, cooing about sisterly love. But as she hugged him, me goodbye at the chopper pad, rotors whirring like judgment, I saw the fracture, Ethan's empire teetering on my whims. The day devolved into isolation. I drove his Tesla into town. Willow Creek's main drag, a ghost town of boarded shops and faded American flags, stocking up on burner phones and black market zip ties from a contact at the old diner. Nostalgia bit. Slinging hash here post-prison. Dodging leers from locals who whispered, Hawthorne whore. Ethan had never known that grind. He jetted past in his Beamer. Windows tinted. Back at the manor. I prepped, laptop mirroring his servers. Files downloading, offshore logs. The senator's payoff. Even Mom's autopsy report. Accidental, OD with fingerprints smudged. Controversial? Hell yes. Leaking this would torch innocents, employees. The girl now a lawyer in D.C., but justice isn't clean, it's a chainsaw through butter. Midnight tolled from the grandfather clock, gonging like a death knell. The attic stairs creaked under my ascent. Journal clutched like a grenade. Ethan waited.
Camelot.
My body frail in the chill. You came, he said, voice a ghost of mine. Deck calls. I barred the hatch behind me, the sigil pulsing on the floorboards.
Confess.
On video. The crash.
Mom.
The will. Or the swap binds permanent, your soul in my corpse forever. Rotting in obscurity. He laughed. Bitter. And if I don't, you think you can pull this off? Lauren suspects. The board circling.
You're me.
Caro, but you're not. One slip. And you're the freak in the loony bin. I hit play on the phone. Red light blinking. Try me. He paced. Shadows dancing like demons.
Then,
halting. I caused the crash.
Drunk.
She was 15. I paid her family $200K to shut up.
Pause.
Tears, my tears streaking.
Mom.
I argued with her that night. Pills were out. I didn't stop her. And Dad, the will.
I
influenced Hargrove. 50 grand. For the future. The words hung. Damning. I stopped recording. Heart hammering in his chest. Good boy.
Now.
The ritual reverse. But he whirled. A hypodermic glinting, nicked from Dad's med kit. Your future ends here. Sis. He jabbed. Plunger depressing. Sedative flooding his veins. World blurred. I slumped. Ethan's body heavy as lead. Waking chained to a rafter. Mouth gagged with my own scarf. I watched him, pour kerosene from a can, the journal's pages curling in the flame. Your little spell? Ash now. We're stuck.
Caro.
But I'll make it work. Caroline Hawthorne, the grieving sister, inherits scraps. Ethan? He vanishes suicide. Maybe. Poetic. Rage boiled. Controversial calculus. Kill him in my body, or let the swap fester. I strained, Link's biting wrists, as he lit a match. Goodbye, brother. The whoosh lit his grin, my grin twisted. But sirens wailed distant. Lauren's 911. Ethan's acting crazy. Chaos erupted. Fire marshal crashing the ladder. Cops cuffing him in my nightie. Ma'am, you okay? I sagged as they unchained Ethan, the sedative fading. Twist incoming. The video. Auto-uploaded to the cloud via my burner. By dawn. It was viral. Fox News looping. Hawthorne heir confesses dark secrets. Ethan screamed from the squad car. It's her. She's the imposter. But who believes a raving woman in restraints? The fallout hit like a fracking explosion. Headlines screaming, Hawthorne dynasty implodes, incest, corruption, and a sister's fury. Pundits on CNN dissected the video. Psychologists labeling Ethan a narcissistic sociopath, while Fox spun it as liberal witch hunt on family values. Willow Creek buzzed. Neighbors I'd served pie to now nodding solemnly at the poor Hawthorne girl as I, in Ethan's shell, fielded press from the manor steps. Lauren divorced him faster than a prenup shredder, whisking the twins to her daddy's Palm Beach pile. You're not my Ethan, she hissed on her way out. But sign the papers anyway, $5 million hush money from the crumbling trust. Hargrove lawyered up, spilling to the feds for immunity. The senator, unearthed, resigned in disgrace. His daughter's trauma, a tabloid feast. I played the hero. Press conferences in Ethan's Seville Row suits. Voice steady as I donated the company to a workers' co-op for the Rust Belt. Not the 1%. Stocks tanked. But so did Ethan's alibis. Arraigned in my body. Awkward heels in court. Hair in a sensible bob, he ranted about soul swaps, earning psych evals and a one-way ticket to Blackwood State Hospital. The same hole I'd glimpsed post-prison. Visitation day came in February. The lot a slushy graveyard of minivans and regrets. I signed in as Ethan Hawthorne, flashing his ID, and was buzzed into the rec room. Linoleum floors, folding chairs, the tang of bleach and despair. He sat hunched at a table, my face gaunt, eyes darting like cornered prey. You win, he muttered as I sat. Orderlies hovering. But at what cost? Look at you, trapped in my skin. My nightmares. Lauren's gone. The money's dust. You're me, but hollow. I leaned in. Ethan's features impassive. Hollow? Try liberated. I sold the manor, funded scholarships for girls like that senator's kid. No more scraps.
Ethan. Feast.
He laughed. A wet hack. Twist. Sis, Dad knew. The journals? He wrote them for you. The spare becomes the throne. He scrawled in the margin I burned. He swapped once. With Grandpa.
To steal the oil rights.
Cursed blood. We're both monsters now. The words landed like a gut punch. Truth reversed. Dad's stories, a blueprint for our fall. Had he orchestrated this? Groomed me as the vessel. Ethan as the sacrifice? Controversial as hell. Forgive the dead. Or damn the lineage. I stood. Chair scraping. Maybe. But monsters can choose redemption.
Outside.
Snow melted into mud. Spring whispering of rebirth. I drove his Jag to the airport. Bound for LA, new name. New life. Caroline in Ethan's husk. Therapy waited. Maybe a tell-all. Happy? Tragic? You decide. As the plane climbed, I traced the faint scar on my wrist from the glass shard. Payback's endgame. Not destruction, but displacement. The dogs got their plate after all. And in the quiet, I wondered if souls swap. Do sins follow? Or do we finally outrun them?